it's our duty as men, if we actually want to be part of the change that we want to see in the world and we want to be prepared for the worst to protect ourselves and our families, we have to do more. Hello and welcome to the Command Podcast, where our mission is to help you take command of your mind, your body, and your future, to create a powerful, effective individual who has a desire to immerse themselves in greatness, so that together we can unify and assume command of our environments, our communities, and our country to become a self-governing people to do our part in preserving freedom. Join me on this mission of becoming the next generation of leaders to make living with integrity badass again. I'm your host, Trent Niebersol, and now it is time to take command. This is the Command Podcast number 42. And today I'm going to talk about something that I don't normally talk about very much, because I just feel like there's enough people talking about the problems that we see in the world today. So, I've been seeing these things. We all know about what's been going on in the United States lately with millions of illegal immigrants coming across the border. And now the FBI is starting to put out, warnings that, we're at a higher threat of terrorist attacks than we have been since 9/11, or maybe even higher, because we know that there's a lot of people that have come across our southern border that are from countries that have where most of the terrorists come from, a lot of Middle Eastern countries and stuff of that nature. And we've actually seen people that are actually on terrorist watch lists, or people that got out of prison in other countries just recently that were in prison for 10 years for being terrorists, and now they're coming across our borders. So there's a lot of problems in that term, in that way. And that's not even getting into the other problems that are going on in our country and our world right now. But I just wanted to bring that specific thought up because right now we don't really know what's going to happen in the near future. They could just be saying these things to scare us, to, keep us scared, because that's what they always do. They always want to have us scared with nuclear war and scared with, potential terrorist attacks and all that kind of stuff. But, it's like the real question is it actually going to happen? I think there's a good chance that something bad could happen. So what are we going to do about it? Well, again, I don't really talk about the problems very much on this podcast because I think there's enough people talking about the problems. I like talking about solutions more than the problems, but it's also important to be aware of the problems that are out there and things that we got to be worried about to protect ourselves and our families. So yes, I think our government sucks right now. I think they let this happen intentionally because the people that are in power are willing to do whatever to stay in power. So really, we need to know what's going on right now, and we need to be prepared. So what do I mean by being prepared? Well, for one, you need to put your physical fitness and your own physical capabilities at the forefront of your focus. A lot of people don't put that very high up on the totem pole. And really recently, I've realized that even I haven't put it up that high on the totem pole for most of my life. I go to the gym and lift weights. I go on trail runs here and there, mostly like 15-mile weeks, which really isn't that much, especially what I've been doing with doing, 70-mile weeks and stuff like that. But most people just go to the gym and they go on a little walk, and that's great. If you're doing that, great. You're ahead of a lot of people. But, I think it's our duty as men, if we actually want to be part of the change that we want to see in the world and we want to be prepared for the worst to protect ourselves and our families, we have to do more. So what can you start doing? What can you start doing that's more than what you've been doing? If you're only working out 3 days a week and, you can't run a couple miles, you should probably bump that up a little bit, because we don't know what's going to happen. And the best thing that you could do is be prepared. What else could you do to be prepared? Well, a lot of people that go deeply into these, theories and stuff of what could happen think that the government, and, they've been saying that there's like 100% chance that we're going to have like a massive solar flare, something that happened in, I think, the 1850s or 1840s, somewhere in the mid 1800s, that knocked out basically a solar flare happened and knocked out all electronics. But back then, whenever this happened, the only electronics were really like the telegraph. So like it didn't really cause that big of an issue. And I might be off. It might have been like the early 1800s. I can't really remember. But anyways, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about how that's going to happen soon. So there's a lot of things, but you also can't be afraid of all the news and the stuff coming out. I personally don't listen to the mainstream media at all. I get my information from elsewhere, and I don't consider myself an expert on, the goings on in the world right now. But I stay informed to a certain extent because it's important. But I think what's more important than staying informed and knowing about everything that's going on is being prepared. So like I said, your physical fitness, you need to work on being the best that you can be to be capable. Like there's all these people acting like, they're ready for shit to happen, but they're freaking 300 pounds or 280 pounds and they can't even run 100 yards. So if you're one of those people, you need to start getting your shit in gear because you have no right to be talking about, protecting your family and stuff because you're not even physically capable yourself. So physical fitness is at the top of that list. The second one, obviously, is you should have some food stocked up at your house. You should have enough food to get by for at least 3 to 4 months, preferably like 6 months. But, I know that that's kind of hard for a lot of people to do. Beyond that, it starts getting expensive. Some things that I have as a generator to power my house, but, I don't keep enough fuel to power my house for months. So that still makes me run into problems. If you could have solar with battery packs, if the whole solar flare happens, or maybe that's just the government's way of telling us that they're going to freaking set off an EMP to stop the next election. I don't know. But, having some way to power your freezers and fridge is definitely ideal because I know I keep a lot of meat. I keep a lot of food in the freezer, and a lot of people do, but that doesn't do you much good if you don't have power to power the freezer. So I try to keep a lot of dehydrated food, enough to last us at least a few months or so. But of course, all that changes if you have a bunch of family and friends that show up to your house when shit hits the fan. So what else is about being prepared should you be prepared with? Well, I think it's important with what's going on with the world's currencies right now. The United States is kind of running the dollar into the ground a little bit. Now we see the, China and Russia and, Brazil and all those countries bringing up the BRICS, and they're starting to trade with the yuan, and they're starting to trade with other currencies other than the dollar, which, is something that hasn't happened in a long time. The dollar has been the fiat currency for many years now, and that could devalue our dollar by a lot in the future. And really the only things that you could do to protect your money is buy things like gold and silver, or have things like real estate, have hard assets that can back up your money. Again, I'm not like a big investor yet. I'm working on it. I'm pretty young. I'm really been getting into this stuff the last few years, but I think it's important to have at least some things that are hard assets or things like gold and silver that you could trade with and you could exchange for money. Because if the dollar crashes, that gold is still going to be worth the same amount. Like let's say the dollar drops and you have an ounce of gold that's worth $2,000 right now. If the dollar crashes, now that could be worth $4,000 or $10,000, whatever. Depends on how far the dollar crashes. So you should have some things that you could trade in order to keep some of the value of your money. And other than that, being prepared is really just situational awareness. When you go out into public, be aware. Because with what they're saying right now, with the FBI and what they're talking about, potential terrorist attacks in public places and stuff, you need to be aware so that you can protect your family. You need to know where the exits are. You need to look around and kind of be aware of what other people are doing. You can't just be blindly living your life. Because I don't like thinking about these things, but I do think about them whenever I'm out in public. Because whoever I'm with, whether it's my wife or family or friends, I want to be able to react in the right way to try and protect those people. So, I really think that things could go south this year. There could be some things that happen, and I really hope it doesn't. But the fact of the matter is we do not know who has come across our border over the last 2 years, and our government allowed it to happen. And I think they allowed it to happen for a reason, because they know that people are starting to wake up to the bullshit going on, They're starting to wake up to the fact that the corporations are running the government. The people that we elect really have no say in what's going on, and that, they start these wars in other countries for money and power. It really has nothing to do with democracy and freedom. And we've basically been fooled for a long time. And don't even get me started on the COVID thing. That was a big power grab thing that they attempted. Not saying COVID was fake, but I believe that they started it. I mean, there's hard evidence now that they started it. And it was nothing like what they said it was. And they did it to transfer wealth from family businesses and individuals into the big corporations, because they kept the big corporations open. They made small family businesses close. So that was their attempt to really transfer a lot of wealth from the middle class to the wealthy. And now what are they going to do next? They kind of failed with that. They definitely, we took a big hit on that, but they failed their overall mission with it. So now you got to ask yourself, what are they going to do next? Well, I think that possibly letting these millions of illegal immigrants come across the border over the last few years has something to do with it. And now they're starting to talk about terrorist attacks. And they're giving these people more money than they give our homeless veterans out on the streets. So, moral of the story is, there's some shit happening in our world today, especially in our country. There's shit going on in the world, but we have so many problems here in our country that we need to really clean up house here before we're going out and cleaning up the world. Just how I talk about, the whole mission behind this podcast is the individual taking command of their lives. Because until you take command of your life, you have no right, you have no say in telling other people how they should be living. And you shouldn't be telling people how to live anyways. What you should be doing is set an example rooted in integrity and personal growth, so that other people look at you and say, they live a pretty good life. They seem like a cool person, a good person. I want to be like that person. That's how you set an example for other people to want to follow. But of course, we're lacking that today. So just like I was saying, we're out there trying to fix the world, but our country has so many problems that we should be buttoning up and cleaning up house here before we're going out there. Just like you need to take command of yourself, your life, your household before you go out there and try to show and set an example for other people to follow. So same goes on the big level. This is how we fix our country. We take command of our lives individually. We unify with like-minded individuals to create a positive ripple effect that can spread out to the whole country. And then that's where we start setting an example and bringing more people up with us by setting that example rooted in integrity and growth. And then eventually, maybe we could get the right people in the government that will actually clean up our country, work on our national debt, get the criminals out of here, the terrorists, whatever there could be right now. And then we could go out and start helping the rest of the world without starting endless wars with countries, because that's what we've done for the past, since Vietnam. So, yeah, that's what I got to say today. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. We got a lot of problems, but it starts with you taking command of your life, taking individual responsibility, and you being prepared for your family. Because when it comes down to it, that's really all you can do right now, is be as prepared as you can for whatever's coming. And again, I hope there is nothing coming, but unfortunately, from what they're saying, and what they're saying could be lies, but the fact of the matter is that millions of illegal immigrants, and we don't know who they are, have come across our southern border over the last few years, and that could turn out very badly, because there's a lot of countries who want to do harm to us right now because we keep causing wars with them. So that's what I got for you guys today. Get out there and take command of your life and do your part to becoming part of the change that we need to see in the world. Share this message with anybody that you think would resonate with the message or wants to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Until next time, join me on this mission of becoming the next generation of leaders to make living with integrity badass again. I'm your host, Trent Niebersol, and now it is time to take command.